Hello learners, welcome to this another session for your program Diploma in Fashion Design and Retail. I Dr. Divya Ojha, Academic Associate from School of Vocational Education and Training IGNOU welcomes you all to this interactive session. So as we have already discussed about some of the courses of this particular Diploma in Fashion Design and Retail program, today we will be discussing one of the unit of your course 6 of this DFDR program, that is coded as BFD 076 Textile and Fashion Retailing. So let me just brief what all blocks and units are there. So today we will be discussing the unit 2 of block 1, which is fiber to fashion, and in the earlier session we have discussed the unit 1, which was fiber to yarn. So block 1, which is as fiber to fashion of this course BFD 076 Textile and Fashion Retailing. So unit 1 we have already covered, that is fiber to yarn, in which we discussed about what many types of, what are the different classifications of fibers are there. We discussed about the spun and the filament yarn and different processing, how fiber is converted into yarn, and then how yarn is taken for the fabric construction. Then unit 2 that we will be discussing in detail today, that is sustainable fibers and fabrics. Unit 3 of this particular block is handling and detailing of fabrics. Unit 4 is hang tags and labels, and unit 5, that is understanding value addition in retailing. So in this particular block 1 you have to study 5 units. Similarly, there are total 4 blocks that you have to study in this particular course, that is textile retailing. So block 2 is about apparel production line and product development, in which 4 units you have to study, that is apparel line development, fashion trimmings, product development and organization of line. Then block 3 is about fashion trends, promotions and advertisement, in which total 5 units you have to study, that is perspective of dress, culture and society, scope of traditional handicrafts, innovation in traditional handicrafts, apparel product analysis, and fashion advertisement and promotion. And the last block of this particular course, the textile and fashion retailing, is block 4, which is for writing for fashion, in which 4 units you have to study, that is retail and fashion lab. Unit 16 is fashion forecasting. Unit 17 is fashion promotional writing, and the last unit, unit 18, is global sourcing and merchandising. So learners, all these 18 units you have to study in this particular course 6, that is textile and fashion retailing. So now, as we discussed that today's topic of discussion is on the unit 2, that is sustainable fibers and fabric, which is the unit 2 of this particular block 1, fiber to fashion. So now let us see what all points we have to discuss in this particular session, and what all topics are covered in this particular unit 2, sustainable fibers and fashion. So first we will be discussing in this unit about the concept of sustainability. We will be discussing about the need of sustainable fibers and fabric, why sustainable fibers and fabrics are needed in the present scenario, what are different characteristics of sustainable fibers and fabric, what categories of sustainable fibers and fabrics are there, that we will discuss in this unit, and lastly we will discuss different standards and certification of sustainable fibers and fabric. So now you will be having a question in your mind that why this is this particular unit or topic, sustainable fibers and fashion is fabric, is important. So what information or what learning outcome we expect that after going through this unit you will be able to interpret the principles of sustainability and its relevance in the context of resource management and environmental preservation. You will be able to describe the motivation behind the increasing demand for sustainable fibers and fabric, considering the environmental, social, and economic implications of traditional textile production, and you will be able to describe the main features of sustainable fibers and fabric, such as a minimal environmental impact, durability, and ethical production practices. You will be able to categorize different types of sustainable fibers and fabric, which are appreciating how ends each contributes to sustainability. And lastly, you will be able to recognize important certifications like GOTS, that is Ecotex, Fair Trade Certificate, GRS, India Organics, and EcoMark. There are different certifications which is given to the sustainable fibers and the fabric which is developed. That means that it is proved or certified that this particular fiber or the fabric is economically and eco-friendly. So there are different learning criteria, their criteria and importance for guaranteeing a sustainability. So all these informations you will be getting from this particular unit, that is sustainable fibers and fabric. Now first, as from the beginning we are talking about the sustainable fibers and fabric. So let us understand what the sustainability or sustainable fiber fabric means. So sustainability is a broad principle that we can say it encapsulates the notion of developing, managing, and consuming resources in a way that satisfied our current need while preserving the environment and the resources availability for the future generation. So as when we talk about the textile or the fashion industry, we can say that textile industry is one of the industry that is they have the most of the processing of the fabrics and the process of the dyes that pollutes our environment. So in the textile industry, people or the manufacturer or the producer, they are adopting the sustainable method to develop that product or the fibers to less harm the product environment. So sustainability, the concept of sustainability is to use or to develop or to manage such thing or consume the resources that can satisfy our present need without damaging the environment and consuming or the preserving the environment for the future generation. So in simple terms, we can say that the concept of sustainability revolves around the idea of meeting present need without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. So as textile production has a significant environmental and social impact, there is a rising need of sustainable fibers and fabric. So these alternatives reduce pollution, conserve resources, and improve social condition in the textile industry. So as people nowadays are becoming more aware about what they are choosing, what types of fabric they are choosing for their consumption or for making their garments, they are becoming more wiser and trying to choose the fabric or the dyes or the dyed fabric which they are using, that should be eco-friendly and no harm should be given to the environment. So this particular unit delves into the characteristics of sustainable fibers and fabric, such as low environmental impact, long life cycle, reduced energy consumption, safe production method, and fair trade practices. So all these topics or the areas of the sustainable fiber or the sustainable development is being discussed in this particular unit, how the environmental impact should be lesser down by when we trying to produce a sustainable fiber or the fabric, how the life cycle or the long life of that particular product should be developed, how less energy consumption can be used or consumption can be done in while producing that sustainable fiber of fabric, and with all these aspects, how we can develop a safe production method and fair trade practices when we are developing a sustainable fiber and fabrics. So this unit concludes with apprising the learners with the various standards and the certification for sustainable fibers and fabrics. These includes Global Organic Textile Standards, Ecotex, Fair Trade Certificate, Global Recycle Standards, India Organic, Ecomark. All these certifications are discussed. These standards ensure that textile meets specific environmental and social criteria. So this is the broad concept we discussed about the sustainability and how sustainable fibers and fabric are developed. So what is the need? Why we need the sustainable fibers and fabric? So the need of the sustainable fiber and fabric has been paramount in addressing the escalating environmental and social challenges posed by the textile industry. So conventional textile production relies heavily on resource-intensive process, resulting in significant ecological impact. So now when you study in detail this particular unit, you will get to know that the conventional method of producing or growing the fibers, especially the cottons, the more they lots of pesticides and million liters of waters were used. But when we produce the organic cotton, we produce the cotton without pesticide and less quantity of the water. So in the conventional method, we use intensive resources and for the processing or resulting the developing that particular fiber. So there are why we need sustainable fibers. There are certain reasons or impact that why we need sustainable fibers and fabrics. The first reason why we need sustainable fiber and fabric is that environmental impact reduction. So as we discussed that it will be helpful in the reduction of the environmental impact. It will help in conservation of resources like water, energy, all that resources will be conserved or it can be saved. Biodiversity preservations, different biodiversities or the biofuels that we use that can be preserved. Reduce chemical usage, like less use of chemicals or the pesticide that we use in the conventional method. But when we use the trying to develop a sustainable or organic fibers, that we will be not using any kind of chemical substance. So worker and community welfare, like there will be a healthy working environment that will there no the production or that community welfare will be there. Climate change mitigation, because of that we need sustainable fibers. Education and awareness, like as we discussed that nowadays people are becoming more aware and conscious towards the environment, and that because of that they are becoming more curious and to know what products are, what are the making process, how this particular product has been developed, what all environmental damages or impact will be there after they are using that product, what will be their health impact, and after when they are done with that product or they have used that product, what will be the decomposition method, how will it harm the environment or it will not, that all awareness they are getting, and because of that the demand of sustainable fibers and the fabric are increasing. Then what are different characteristics of sustainable fibers and fabrics are? So sustainable fibers and fabric possesses distinct characteristics that set them apart from the conventional ones. So these characteristics contributes to their reduce environmental impact, improve social responsibility, and overall alignment with the principles of sustainability. So now let us discuss some of the key characteristics of sustainable fibers and fabric. First characteristic is eco-friendly production. Like as we discussed, there is less use of water, energy and different resources, so it becomes eco-friendly production. Renewable and biodegradable. So any fiber which is developed by the sustainable methods or means, they are renewable. We can easily renew that, or if for using that product or the fiber or fabric for years, we can renew that with certain methods, and they are biodegradable. Low carbon footprints means that there is a less use of flora and fauna in that particular production process. Reduce water usage, like the organic cotton or any organic fiber which is developed, there is a less consumption of water, so we can use the reduce the uses of water. Non-toxic and safe, as there is while we are developing a sustainable fiber or we are using instead of chemical or a synthetic dyes or any processing, we are using the natural things, so that is non-toxic and safe for the humans. Recycling and circular economy. Fair labor practices, like we are not we are using every ethical manners in while producing that particular fibers. The labor or the manpower which is used, the equal weightage is given, and wages which is given, it is according to their work time. So every fair labor practices is used in that. Transparent supply chain is there. Minimal environmental impact and long lasting, durable. So fiber that is produced, it is long lasting and also durable. So it is a good alternative, and as people are becoming aware, they are more reliable and choosing that particular fibers. So now what are different categories of sustainable fibers and fabric? So sustainable fibers and fabric can be broadly categorized into several types based on their source and production method. So some of the common categories of sustainable fibers and fabric include: first is the organic natural fibers. So in this category, that is organic natural fiber, textiles classified and organic are cultivated without the use of harmful pesticides, synthetic fertilizers or genetic modification. So a diverse range of fibers which falls under the organic categories include the cotton fiber or the fabric, hemp, flax, that is also known as linen, jute and wool. So these all fibers such as cotton, hemp, linen, wool and jute, all these can also be grown organically, and that is in which category the less use of pesticides and the chemicals are used while their production. Second category is regenerated natural fibers. Regenerated natural fibers are the fiber which is generated from the natural sources, such as sustainable natural regenerated fibers are derived from the natural sources and processed using environmentally responsible methods, such as some of the fiber they are extracted from the wood pulp, that is of the woods which are of no use there, that is fibers are extracted from that particular wood. So these fibers are considered sustainable because they reduce the environmental impact and promotes resource conservation. So example of sustainable natural regenerated fibers are the tensile, bamboo fiber and the modal. So all these fibers, that is tensile or the bamboo or modal, that all comes under the natural or the regenerated natural fibers. So basically they are the cellulose fiber only. Then the third category is the recycled fibers. So these fibers are obtained from both pre and post consumer textile waste. So any textile waste that is we obtain from the consumer, which is pre or the post use, which includes discarded garments and the industrial waste. So example includes the recycled cotton. So any cotton fabric which is used by the consumer or that is recycled for the again generation or the development of the recycled cotton. Then there is a recycled polyester, recycled nylon. All these fibers comes under the regenerated fibers, under the recycled fibers. Then the fourth category is about innovative and bioengineered fibers. So these are some innovative fibers which is extracted from the natural resources. So sustainable, innovative and bioengineered fibers are those which are designed to minimize environmental impact throughout their life cycle. So these are designed or developed to something which is new or innovative. So from recycled from the sourcing raw materials, production and uses to disposal or recycling. So this often involves using renewable resources, reducing energy and water consumption, minimizing the waste of the fibers and ensuring biodegradability and recyclability. So all these aspects are taken care while we are developing the bioengineered fibers. So some of the example of the bioengineered or innovative fibers are lotus fiber, which is extracted from the lotus stem. Then there is a banana fiber that is extracted from the stem of the banana tree. There is a pineapple fiber extracted from the pineapple tree or that particular part. Milk fiber, nettle fiber, bioengineered spider silk. So all these are innovative and the bioengineered fibers that are recently developed and people are using that which is the replacement of some of the conventional fibers. Then the next category is about the biodegradable synthetic fibers. So biodegradable synthetic fibers are man-made fibers designed to decompose over time, reducing their environmental impact compared to conventional synthetic fibers which can persist in environment for hundreds of years. So these fibers typically made from the biopolymers that can break down naturally. So when we talk about this is very confusing, because when we are talking about the biodegradable synthetic fibers, so synthetic itself, that it is not natural and the decomposition of that synthetic fiber is not easy. So but when we talk about the biodegradable synthetic fibers, means that it is developed with some biopolymers that can break down easily and that can decompose naturally into the environment. So it is a good substitute for the man-made or the synthetic fibers that we are using. So fibers which include in the biodegradable synthetic fibers are the polylactic acids, that we as the PHA fibers, and the biodegradable nylon. So these are some of the examples of the biodegradable synthetic fiber that in detail you can study in your that particular unit in your study material. Then the last category of this particular sustainable fiber and fabrics is the fair trade fibers. So fair trade fibers are produced in accordance with the fair trade principles and practices. So this means that the farmers and the workers involved in the producing the fiber are treated ethically with safe working conditions and fair wages. So anyone, any person, whether it is the farmer or the worker who are working in the production of these fiber, they are treated equally, ethically, they are given proper wages according to their work, and there is a good and the healthy working environment that is comes under the fair trade fibers. So fair trade fiber can come from a variety of sources including cotton, wool and silk among others. By choosing product made from fair trade fibers, consumer can support ethical and sustainable practices in the textile industry. So this is basically for about the working environment, how production is done, how the worker or the farmer is treated. That is also be considered, and it also comes under the sustainable method of producing any fibers or fabric. Then lastly we will discuss about the different standards and certifications of sustainable fibers and fabric. So there are different organizations that certifies that this particular fiber or the fabric which is developed, it is environmentally safe and eco-friendly that we can use. So there are certain certification organizations such as Global Organic Textile Standard, which is named as GOTS or GOTS. Then there is a Ecotex, Fair Trade Certified, Global Recycle Standards, India Organic, and Ecomark. So all these certifications that if the label is there, that is means that fiber is eco-friendly or sustainable. So learners, in this particular session we discussed about the unit 2, sustainable fibers and fabric. So if you have any further query, you can mail us to dfdr@ignou.ac.in. We will be very happy to answer all your queries. Thank you.